He is happy to be here, I know, personally. Good morning and welcome to BSides Nashville 2016. How y'all doing? You're here, you made it. Thank you. Thank you for coming. I am Jeff Collins. I'm the treasurer of BSides Mid-TN Inc., a nonprofit based here in Nashville. And BSides Nashville is a 100% volunteer-run organization. And this conference is pretty much all we do. Nashville is a great city, and we have a growing community of information security professionals and hobbyists. We learn, teach, experience, befriend, and reconnect in a comfortable environment that is here. Whether you're blue, red, or green, we have a place for you. This is supposed to be a fun time, and we want everyone to have a good time who's interested in InfoSec. Speaking of community, is Brent here? Stand up, sir. This is Brent White, a.k.a. Bit Killer. How you doing, man? Haven't seen you yet. Oh, man. Continuing the community thread, if you're interested in continuing with like-minded people, the DC 615, an official DEF CON group, will be meeting in the fishbowl for about 10 or 15 minutes to start the organization and have monthly, quarterly meetings just continuing on throughout the year, not just a one-time event once per year like BSides is. Find Brent, come to the fishbowl at 1:30, hang out, maybe get a sticker. Brent, you got stickers? All right. Now it's my job to give you the boring stuff like where the bathrooms are, the schedule, etc., etc. So just hang with me. I'll try and go through it as quick as I can. If you have a problem, if there's something that's come up, if you have a question, look for the gold shirts. The gold shirts are the organizers and staff. If we don't know the answer, we can make one up very quickly. The bathrooms, if you go out here to the right, are just around the corner on the way to the red room and the fishbowl. That's obviously very important to most of us. If you have any questions on the schedule and you don't have your program with you, go to bsidesnash.org and we have a mobile schedule up there. If I don't think we'll be doing updates. Everything's run great so far. In the fishbowl, that is our fun. Yeah, go ahead. Actually, you need the poppers. We didn't bring the poppers in. That is my fault. Yes. Well, this isn't ShmooCon. Okay. Yeah, we do have. Oh boy. All right. In the fishbowl, that is our fun room. We have a LAN party going on right now. We have a main cabinet. We will have a photo booth, and in the photo booth will be the plush dormant cyber pathogens. Of course, there'll be a printout of the photos there, and there will be, if you're an attendee, of course, you'll have a link emailed to you where you can get the online gallery of all the fun stuff. There will also be some people fiddling around with locks for some reason in the back, too. You hiding back here? Okay. Lunch will be served at 1 o'clock out here in the lobby. It will be, again, Martin's Barbecue. It has been wonderful, and we decided to bring them back. The only thing we ask is they've remodeled all the classrooms on this level, so please don't eat in any of the normal rooms. The lobby, it is supposed to be 74, sunny, and beautiful outside, so if you've never seen the sun, it's right through those doors. And you should try lunch out there sometime. It's great. If you require something else besides Martin's Barbecue, there are plenty of places here on campus that will be open, and you can get something else. I hear there's Papa John's even on campus. The after party. There's one slight change. It's at 6:30 at the Tennessee Brew Works. Please don't show up early because they will not be ready for us. They were flipping very quickly. They're accommodating our schedule. So you're going to be hanging out in the parking lot. But carpool if you can. Take a shared car. Don't try the bus. It's not going to work for you. But, I'm sorry? Yeah, Uber and Lyft, car sharing, ride sharing. They will get you there, get you safe. And we are going to have dinner. We will have beverages of all sorts, not just, since we're at the Brew Works. And what do we have on tap? TCP IPA will be on tap. Special from Chattanooga. And the Binary Brew Works. Thanks, man. All right. Oh, and one other thing. For dinner, you will have to have your badge. That's one way we have to regulate it because, there's only so much food to go around. Now, the big thanks that we have today are for our sponsors. They really stepped up this year. They have helped fund us. This would absolutely not be possible. All the good food you're going to have, believe me, you are going to be stuffed when you leave tonight. And the Tennessee Brew Works is an awesome place to hang out, to chat, to have dinner. I mean, really, we sampled it and we walked away. It's like, sold. Doesn't really matter how much it's going to cost. We're going to have to find the sponsors to pay for it. But Qualis has stepped up this year, and they are the party sponsor and a gold sponsor. So that was awesome from them. And our platinum sponsors are Defense Point and Lipscomb University College of Computing and Information. Finn Breland's going to step up here in just a minute, and he's going to tell you about the college as well. Our gold sponsors, RSA, Optiv, Networks, and Sophos. Silver sponsor is Logarithm. Bronze sponsors is Solutionary and the ISSA Mid-TN. And our friends from Vaco, AppSec, Sword and Shield, and IBM Security. Let's give them all a round of applause. Now, this would, of course, besides the money, if people hadn't stepped up to volunteer to do this every year, we would not be able to do this. We would be scrambling around, and it wouldn't happen. So all the organizers, all the gold shirts, we came together for the last 5 months, every Monday night practically, to get this ready so that everything runs smooth and provide all these things, including the swag bags, the programs, everything, the tables, the fun that's in the fishbowl. Believe me, it's hard to drag the kids away from all the fun that's out there. Also, we want to thank the BSides Organizing Committee, the Worldwide Security BSides. They have put together a great framework that we follow and we believe is ongoing. It's going to be the future of InfoSec security conferences. So let's give them a round as well. Adrian Iron Geek in the back, thank you very much, sir, for showing up once again. All right, and thank you guys for showing up on a Saturday morning to come, talk geeky. We really appreciate you coming. This is why we want you here. We want the community to come together and actually meet face-to-face in real life. So, to wrap up, if you have a problem, question, concern, complaint, or if there's a security issue, gold shirts. And now, the secretary of BSides Mid-TN, that is Finn Breland.
Good morning. Glad you guys are here. So I'm here representing kind of two parts today. First, I am the secretary of BSides Middle Tennessee. Haven't quite figured out what I'm supposed to do yet, but more on that later. Second, I'm here as a representative of the Lipscomb University College of Computing and Technology. So computing's been delivered at Lipscomb for a long time, 70s, early 80s. But in recent years, we've really stepped up our game in the computing industry. We have 10 undergrad degrees in computing specifically. We have 3 master's degrees. But more importantly, we have a mission that is to serve, connect, and innovate. And yes, it's a cheesy logo that might not mean anything to you, but when we think about Lipscomb University and our desire to connect, that's where you guys come in. So when 3 years ago, we had a brief conversation with someone who was like, hey, what if we did BSides Nashville, right? Wouldn't that be cool? We were like, let's do it. What do you need? Space, anything we can provide, expertise, however we can be there. Because to Lipscomb University, when we have students who are trying to get into the information security industry or trying to learn these particular disciplines and skill sets, we don't want to just be locked behind the ivory tower lecturing at them for 4 years. We want to expose them to folks like you so you can talk them out of their desired career down the road. So, or not, right? But seriously, you guys are going to show our students what it's like to be in the information security field. You provide innovation. You allow us to invite a conversation of thought leaders to a university campus so that you can provide thought leadership to folks who are interested in the future of this field. So thank you for being here. We're very, very excited to host you here. And so if you need information about all that stuff about Lipscomb University, we've got a table out there. Come find me. That's all well and good. On to the second part. Secretary of BSides Middle Tennessee for a couple years now. This year when they asked me if I would continue to serve, I said, sure, but I'll be in grad school all those Monday nights that you guys will be meeting. So what do you want me to do? And they're like, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. You don't have to really do anything. I said, oh, great. That's a sweet deal. Is there any benefits to being secretary? Not really, but, but we don't really need you to do anything. And so I keep asking. And finally, it becomes clear that they've been conspiring against me because they decided who all was going to talk about what this morning. So for the third year in a row, I get the glory and honor of being the person to tell you what you're not allowed to do at Lipscomb University. So thanks for handing out footballs. Yeah, so Lipscomb University was established in the late 1800s as a Church of Christ institution, and so we're very proud of our heritage and things of that sort. That comes with a few rules. So we are a dry campus. That's probably been advertised already, so please respect that. You'll get all your fun at the Tennessee Brew Works later, I hear. Yeah, not too many woos. David Lipscomb will rise from his grave. Also, smoking. If you are a smoker, we're glad you're here. But this is a non-smoking campus. So if you would proceed to the nearest street, which thankfully we're a small campus, is not too far that way or that way, and take your smoking habit outside the university campus bounds. That would be much appreciated. Thank you guys so much for that. As Jeff mentioned, when you're coming to the rooms here, no food in this particular room or in the classrooms in the fishbowl, but lobby space, outside space. The campus is your oyster. Feel free to roam about and graze as you will. There's also a couple restaurants across the street if you're allergic to barbecue. Copper Kettle, Subway, all that good stuff. So we're excited that you're here. We hope you use the space to your full advantage and you really enjoy being here at Lipscomb University and being here at BSides. One other thing, if you see any Lipscomb students at the after party, free beer for you, take it from them, please. Okay, so they're not allowed to have it. I think that's all I've got. So next, Lauren, president of BSides Middle Tennessee.
I'm short. Let's see if I can do this. Does that work? Can you hear me? Okay, let's see if I sit right. Hey, there we go. So, show of hands, who here has never attended a Security BSides event before? That's awesome. How many people, it's their first BSides Nashville? Also awesome. So, yes, there's the graph. Thank you for volunteering to answer our very non-scientific survey. So, as you see, there's lots of new people. If you look at the makeup, which is over on the right side, it's pretty evenly distributed, which means that the people sitting next to you, they may be a student trying to break in. They may be somebody who's been in the industry for 15 years. Talk to people. Get to know your friends. Make new friends. Because you never know who might be able to help you later or just what you might be able to learn. I think that's it. Yes. They don't make me talk a lot. Next, I have the honor and privilege of introducing our keynote. Is Jayson Street. His biggest claim to fame is that he was the Times 2006 Man of the Year, as was I, as was everybody in this room. He's here to talk to you about great things, but for me, it's a great big privilege to be able to introduce Jayson. Many years ago, long before I met him, one of his books, Dissecting the Hack, I think that was the first one, somebody gave it to me, and I had been an IT admin for a long time, and I'm reading through this book, and I'm like, well, this is silly, but this is all the stuff that I did as a kid. I didn't go around, chasing flags in other people's companies, but I may have found my way into the occasional computer that, oops, it may not have been mine. Purely accidental, and I was learning. So for me, it opened a gateway to move into this field where I'm very, very happy now. So with no further ado, and I can get his name right this year, Jayson Street. It's you.
That's your cue, Jayson. It is your time, sir. Oh, technology. It's like USB.
Oh, hello everyone. It's like, I'm not a morning person at the best of times. Let's see. Oh, we have to get that in there. Okay. There you go. Okay, I'm done. We worked. Okay, cool. No, whenever someone introduces me with the Times 2006 Times Person of the Year thing, I always have to mention the only time that's ever backfired on me was one time I was in this conference in Singapore. It was an IT strictly conference, and the speaker, the guy who was introducing me, was like totally unimpressed with me because I look like this, and he was like, and he was reading my bio, and he got to that. And you could see his whole demeanor change, like, and he was Times Person of the Year for 2006. Let's welcome Jayson. And he was like, also like, it's the only time that I didn't correct him and say, Times Person of the Year 2006 was everyone that was born from 2006 on up. It's like, that's who was Times Person of the Year. So I didn't have the heart to separate them because I felt bad about it. But yeah, so that was fun. This is my talk. This is an interesting experience because of the fact I created the slides and the concept of this talk last year. It's like I had everything finalized. This is the very first time I'm giving this talk. So I don't know how long it's going to be. I don't know how the reactions are going to be. But the best part about it is it's on failure. So if I totally tank it, it's still a win-win situation because that's what the talk's about anyway, right? So we're all good. So either way, I think I've got it covered, I hope. But the reason why I gave this talk, and if you've noticed, it's like I probably changed the title quite a lot, but I'm actually sticking with this one now. Because in bad mistakes, I've made a few. Does that sound familiar to anybody? It's like, I really like the fact that the song about being a champion actually admits the fact that they've made mistakes. Because don't you have to make mistakes? Don't you have to at least admit and own up to those if you want to also own up to your successes? And last year, there was a lot of crap on the internet. Well, there's always crap on the internet, right? But there was people that have failed. People that made mistakes, programs that didn't work the way they were supposed to, tools. I mean, there was like all this different thing that was going on, and I was seeing all this drama on Twitter and Facebook and all these different other sites and blog posts about how these people failed and how everybody was quick to go and get the pitchforks and the fire and stuff. And I was like, is that really the way we're supposed to be doing this? And so I was like, well, I want to talk about failure then, because I'm really familiar with that topic. I don't say I'm an expert in much, okay, but I can calmly say that I'm an expert in failure, okay? I've done it a lot. I do it really well, okay? I wish they could make a job out of it, but I would probably fail at it. But I started saying, well, so I want to do a talk that has nothing to do but me talking about my failures. These are all personal experiences where I screwed something up. Not where this is how I screwed something up and I made it better by doing this. No, I totally effing failed. It's like, don't do what I did. Learn from that. So that's what this whole talk is going to be about. Because that's what I do. I started out way late in doing this because I didn't know what it was. It's like, or how it was going. And so I just learned as I went. It's like I didn't have any kind of professional teaching or lessons. It's like I just like, hey, let me break something, try to reassemble. And it's like, let me go and get into this and try to do that and see what happens. And so I failed a lot. So that's the only thing anything else you can find on Google, unfortunately, about me. It's like, but that's what you need to know about on this talk, is that I'm just a guy who's failed. I'm going to talk about 3 different kinds of fails. I'm going to talk about blue team fails, red team fails, community fails. And basically I'm going to talk about times that I failed as a blue teamer, times I failed as a red teamer, and times I failed in this community. The first one is the first blue team failed is I started in security back in the physical security days. Over 25 years ago, because I'm old, in physical security and law enforcement. It's like, so I had a perception of how I was supposed to act, you know, respect my authority. It's like, you know, every person I met on the job, I was meeting them on the worst possible day. It's like either something horrible had just happened to them, or because I'm there, something horrible is just about to happen to them, you know, but either way, it was horrible. So it gets you in that kind of ingrain where you're always feeling that confrontation, that you always knew there was going to be confrontation. So I got out of that field because, you know, I literally just got tired of getting shot at. And it's like, and I went into IT support, desktop support, because I could fix computers, and I liked, you know, because I broke them so many times, I learned how to fix them. And I got into IT support, and someone back in 2000, 16 years ago, heard me talking about the support stuff, heard me talking about hacking and what I've done, and said, "Do you want to do network security?" And I was like, hold on. You can do computers and security, and no one shoots at you. Yeah, I'm down. That's awesome. And so my first job was at an online bank. And I was the security guy. I was the one watching out for everybody. I was the one that was making sure everybody was doing their job. I was this guy. I wasn't helping the situation. I was trying to protect the company from all the threats outside and inside. It's like, but I was alienating so many people. This picture is not just the picture there. There's a tin poster that you can get of Barney Fife called the Fife Security Agency or something like that. That was given to me as a gift by the executives at the company. Literally, how slow I can be with human interactions and stuff. It took me a couple years to realize, oh, they meant that as an insult. They meant that because I'm a jerk. It's like, this is who they think I am. How effective was I at security if that's who they thought I was? How effective was I at my job protecting my company if that was who they perceived me to be? Because I was so busy trying to make sure everybody was protected, and I was adhering to the rules, and I had an adversarial relationship with my users. It's like the users were out to do bad. They're out to do harm. They're out to do no good. It's like that was my typical reaction. It's like I was out to catch them to make sure they didn't do something bad or something that would jeopardize my company. That's where I spent most of my time. The only time you saw me was in a negative light. When I was going to tell you, it's like, well, you downloaded this link you shouldn't have downloaded. That was bad. Don't you understand the company policies? Where's your employee badge? You're supposed to have your employee badge. It's like, if you don't have your employee badge, you're supposed to have a visitor's badge. That's the conversation I had with the CEO, owner of the company. And I made him go to the receptionist office and get a visitor's badge, and he wore it the whole day because those are the rules. And luckily, I didn't get fired because he actually understood security, and he was very, I mean, that was a kudos to him, not to me. It's like, he's like, okay, that guy's a little crazy and stuff, but I'll do it anyway because that's the policy. And he wanted people to follow that policy. But that's the way I was. It's like, I adhere to the rules, these are what they were, and this is what you're supposed to do. That was wrong. I didn't help my company be more secure. I helped them adhere to the rules. I helped motivate users to circumvent security policies so they wouldn't have to deal with me. It's like, I did it wrong. It's like, it was my first job and stuff, you know, so don't judge me too much. I wasn't in it very long, so it's all good because the company tanked because online bank is awesome, except for in 2000 and 2001 when the dot-com burst happened, because then it's not so awesome. The only pleasure I had at the end of that whole ride was I was able to deactivate the CEO's badge before mine. So, just on principle. So here are some of the lessons that I learned. It's like, you have to cultivate relationships. It's like, you gotta do community outreach. Just like the police officers, you know, you saw those videos of a police officer playing basketball with some kids in Texas, where you see the officers and stuff, you know, interacting with the community and not, you know, where it's involving a gun. It's like, that's how you create good policing. That's how you create good security in your environment, by cultivating a relationship before something goes down. Before they see you in a negative site or a negative light, they see you actually trying to be helpful and trying to understand and educate them on what security problems they may face. Teach them things that they worry about at home. Tell them how to protect themselves from threats at home. Teach them and cultivate that relationship. So when something does go down, they don't just see you as someone that's going to be an adversary, but someone there to help them as well. Foster the image of being part of a solution. You're not looking for a problem. It's like, even when I go and do walkthroughs where I'm looking for infractions, I'm not rooting for it. Because first of all, it's more paperwork. Who wants more paperwork, right? That sucks. It's like, but I want them to win. I want them to be able to do it right. I want to go through a whole floor and not have to write one person up because everybody did their job. That's amazing. That's a testament to how good you are at administrating and showing security and your employees actually taking that. That's what you're striving for. Let your employees and your coworkers know that's what you're striving for. I want to be able to report that all you passed. I want to report that we did it right. And you're saying we and us a lot. It's not them. It is us. It is we. They are part of the security team. And if they don't understand that they're part of the security team, that's another failing on us. Mostly me, because, I didn't do that at first, and that's what we're talking about is my failures. But you empower the employees to get involved with what you do. It's like, how do you do that? How do you get them involved in that? One thing that I've always done, and I've lived to regret it, I promise, is that I've tried to get people, certain people that are like having problems with spam or phishing emails. And I tell them, well, send me, when you get a suspicious email, it's like, you send it to me and I'll take a look at it. Yeah, we all realize where that went, right? I actually now have a spam rule for my spam rule for the guy who sends me spam because he thinks it's suspicious. It's like, I literally now just do it, every 1,000 emails or so, I will respond back, oh, that was a good one. Thanks for keeping it in the touch and letting me know. It's like, good job. He's actually sent me spam from his home email account just so I knew what was on the rise and stuff, because he's looking out for me and he's part of the security team. And I'm like, yes, you are. That's awesome. Thank you. Because that's what I need is more spam. It's like, but it worked because you know what he talks about? He talks about how he's part of the security team. He tells people at work that how he's involved and works with security. Their reaction mostly is like, wait, we have a security team? And he talks to them. So you've got an ambassador there that helps inform that and create that situation. So even when you have to go and visit someone for a negative situation, people realize, well, that guy must have really screwed up or Jayson wouldn't be here to cause problems because Jayson doesn't come randomly to cause problems, which is what I used to do. But now I don't and stuff, It's like now I go because there's an actual problem to solve. So those are the lessons that I learned from that. My next one, this was one of my most embarrassing professional fails. And to me, to be embarrassed, it's got to be good, right? Because it's like I don't really have that good of a threshold on boundaries. I was doing Blue Team for this place and networking. Anybody here work with networking? Well, security hates networking, right? It's like security and networking are always adversaries. Network's like, we got to make things go faster. We got to go faster. And the security's like, slow it down, slow it down. And so there's not supposed to be a camaraderie. There's not supposed to be like a relationship with those guys because screw those guys. They're making things insecure because they're putting Cisco equipment in and stuff, and just letting go any. It's like, that's not good. It's like, and the security's guy, because they just want to shut everything down and not let us, have our good metrics. So we show the CIO that we're making the network fast. It's like, and people are complaining about getting their surfing the net. It's like you can be on a T1 fiber line to your desktop. People are going to complain that the network is slow. That's just the way it is. I have broken into places to tell them, and my words are, have you noticed the network's been running slow? Every single time. Yeah, it's been running slow. It's like, well, I'm here to fix that. It's like, well, you come on in. It's like, so that's the way that works. So seriously, it's like I had a very adversarial role with the networking team. And that cost me. Because one time while I was monitoring, I monitor the firewall logs like a soap opera. It's like it's got its own screen on my desk. I'm constantly looking. I'm looking, and I saw the weirdest UDP telnetting traffic coming from like several different machines going out to other servers, and they're getting hit on the firewall. And I'm looking like, that's on the inside. There's something going down now. It's like, and I'm like, Barney, I'm putting my bullet in the gun. It's like, I'm getting ready to go do some business, right? So I go over to the networking guys and I'm telling them, like, guys, we got an issue here. It's like, there's this unusual traffic. It's like, what are these servers? What are these IP addresses? And they're like, those are some of our routers. And I'm like, oh crap, they've compromised the routers. It's like, and they're using it to hop in. How did they get in? I thought we had such great defenses. What's going on? So I'm freaking out. My boss wasn't there that day, which he lived to regret. And so who do I go right after my boss? Well, I go to the CIO of the company going like, hey, we got an issue. We need to escalate. This is an issue. And so we start looking at it. We start going through it. And it's like the CIO's there. It's like I'm talking to the main networking guy. And so, we're trying to figure out where and try to track down where this is going out. And then one of the networking guys, after about 10 to 15 minutes of, the klaxon alarms and stuff, and the watchtowers being lit and stuff, and the trumpets being blown, it's like, he raises his hand. Guys, what was it IP address you are looking for? And we tell him, it's like, oh, I'm doing a scan on our servers and stuff, through telling us, like, that could be me. And I'm like, couldn't you said that just a little bit sooner? And the CIO's like, Jayson, could you just hold off a little bit later? And it's like, it was not a good conversation. It was not a fun conversation. Was it preventable? Yes. Because did the networking guys know what was going down? Did they have the opportunity to tell me before I raised it? But why bother? I'm a jerk. They had an adversarial relationship. I didn't really talk to them unless I was dealing with an issue that they needed to fix. It's like, I need you to add a new firewall rule. I need you to go and check this IP address. I need you to go do this. I never, hey, how are you doing? What's up? I was like, no, I'm in enemy territory and stuff, It's like, I've got a safe word. My boss knows if I'm not back at my desk in 5 minutes, to call, help. Okay? That's how I saw the whole thing. It's like, that's how I involved with networking. Then why did networking need to help me out with anything? So that was my fault. That was the disaster that I created because I thought it was okay to have that adversarial relationship because, they're networking. Who cares? It's like, I think networking is awesome now for all the networking guys in here. It's like, we're all part of the same team. It's like they're a little bit lower on the, okay, I don't want to start a war. Okay. Still have issues. I still have issues. Okay. But I'm honest about it. Okay. So I'm honest about it. So what do we need to do? We need to learn how communication involves listening, not just telling. You got to be able to have and understand what the networking team know when they have an issue or when there's something going on that you're willing to help them with it, that you're willing to investigate it. It's like we had one issue where there was a problem with our website and the guys kept saying it's the firewall. It's the firewall. And I'm like, look, it's not the firewall. It's like, no, it's got to be the firewall. So we spent all this time tracking it down and showing and looking at our logs and trying to show how it was the firewall, how it wasn't the firewall. And guess what? No, it wasn't the firewall. Security proved that it wasn't the firewall. Was the problem resolved when we found out that it wasn't the firewall? No. We didn't help anything except for use all our resources and time to just try to diagnose and show that it wasn't our fault. Instead of trying to help networking, try to root it out and find out that it was a misconfigured DNS server. It was their fault, totally, 100%. They screwed up, okay? But that was not the issue. The issue was we could have fixed it quicker if we weren't trying to just solve and show that it wasn't our fault and actually try to help networking. That was the problem. Develop an effective communication channel before a crisis. Just like with the users. It's like, it's a little bit hard because, the networking guys are soulless, but, it's a little bit, but you still got to create that relationship. It's like, I'm battle scarred, okay? It's like, this is some rough times. But it's like, you've got to create that relationship. Go to lunch with some of the networking guys. It's like, try to actually get to know what they're up to. Come on, they're geeks too. They probably, they're probably like, your Star Wars, their Star Trek, or, whatever. It's fine. But everybody loves Babylon 5 and Serenity, or they're not human. So it's like, so you've got common ground. Find the common ground, it's like, and work on that. And trust me, if they're a proper geek, they're broadcasting on their desk, on their cubicle, by action figures, what they like the most anyway. So it's like, you should be able to indicate and find out exactly what they're into. So it's like, use that as that common ground. Search out all aspects of the situation, not just what you assume it to be. I always assumed worst case scenario. That was one of my biggest failings that whole time. It was not just the communication with the networking, was that I didn't give it a chance to entertain any other aspects except for this was something bad. I'm putting it in my preconceived notions of what the situation is, and then I'm finding all the evidence to help me support that's what it is. And that was wrong. So it's like you can't just assume, you don't have that luxury to say, well, because all the evidence here says this is what it's got to be. It's not always that. So you have to keep your mind open. You have to keep all avenues of investigation open when you're coming up with an incident. People wonder why I use this picture. It's like, I'm going to assume y'all do because someone's going to say, why did you use that picture? This is the, in Switzerland, this is a peace talks for Syria. This is a perfect example of communication. You know why? The only Syrian at this table was the waiter on the far right. It's like that was the only Syrian involved in peace talks for Syria. Communication. It's like it's got to involve everybody. It's like, or you're not really having effective communication. I'm not trying to get political, don't worry, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just stating, it's like you got to communicate, you got to involve the people that you're actually having the problem with if you want to solve anything. So let's move on to red team fails. Red team fails is, when I started out red team, I never had like an official red team job. I just sort of like fell into it. It's like, doing pen testing because I thought it was cool. And it's like, why not? I can do that. Boo, 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 yay. I sucked really bad. It's like, because I was out to prove the other side wrong. I needed to prove that I was good at what I did. It's like, it wasn't about just the client trying to, be secured. It was like, I'm trying to find a failing. Well, when you go into a place and the first thing you do is like, I'm here to show you how ugly your baby is. Because your baby's ugly. I haven't seen all the ugliness yet, but I'm going to. And I'm going to make sure everybody else sees how ugly that baby is. Because that is an ugly, stinking baby. I'm just saying. Don't get me wrong. I think it's awesome. We're going to work together on how ugly your baby is. But, yeah, let's get to work. It's like, let's start. It's like, and it turns out people don't like that very much. People get like offended or something. And I'm like, dude, all I'm doing is showing you the truth. Your baby sucks. And it's like, but they don't like that. And so they get an adversarial role going. Once again, it gets into an issue where instead of trying to help the client, you're fighting the client. And I had a situation where we were working at this one location. It was for a research facility. And the main guy, it's like he was the, what was he? He was not the CIO, but he was like one of the head of networking department or something like that. Networking guys, you gotta watch out for them. It's like, I'm really sending the wrong message through this whole talk. It's like, once again, love networking. But it's like, so I go and we pick on him. We literally, it's like, I have a picture of me stealing a laptop, with power supply from his desk. Just because. It's like I could have just stolen the laptop, but I wanted everything, just to show that I was like, that's how bad I pwned him. We got the domain controller, it's like, and we had all the passwords and the history of passwords that they used in the company. And he used a certain word. And so through the whole conference call with our team members and his boss, we found ways to insinuate or get that word or a variation of that word in the conversation, just so he would understand exactly how screwed he was. Okay? It's like, and we're looking at all the, we were doing the past variations. He knew he was owned. It's like, who did that help? He didn't learn anything from us, except for the fact that we were jerks. It's like, I'm very immature. It's like, how can I hide that? You've seen my mini collection? It's like, no. Or my PJs? It's like, no. I know I'm immature, but don't have to be a jerk about it. I don't have to do it at the expense of someone else. And so instead of having a client that had the long-term benefit of learning from me, we had them just understanding this one concept. So everything that they learned, every failing they learned, every picture of how ugly the baby was, they could justify it because I was a jerk. Because we didn't do good. We were bad for them. We were a bad experience for them from the start to the finish. It's like, who did I help? Who did I make better? Part of your job as a red team is not, your job as a red team person is not to break crap. Your job as a red team person is not to go in there and show them how vulnerable they are. Your job as a red team person is to help them be more secure, to help them find the vulnerabilities so they can be better protected after you leave. And if you don't think that's your job, guess what? I'm not the only one sucking in this room. You have to do that. That's why you're there. That's why they pay for the money. You have to face the fact that you're not part of the solution, then you are the problem. I wasn't giving them solutions. It's like I was just showing them how bad they failed. And therefore I failed doing it. Allies come in unlikely forms and from unlikely places. Do you realize when you go into an engagement and you tell the people that you're talking to, it's like, look, I'm here to help you. It's like, you know all the vulnerabilities here. I'm not going to find anything that's going to surprise you, but I'm going to be that voice to management to get the things that you need done. I'm going to be the voice to management when they don't actually hear you. They paid to hear me. So I can help you get the initiatives that you want. I can show you and help you get the equipment and facilitate all the things that you're trying to get, all the initiatives you're probably already working on. I can help be your advocate for that and help you be better protected and better secured. It's like, I'm not in there trying to do a gotcha or trying to find out what you did wrong. I'm here to try to get you better secured. Let's do that together. And that is an amazing way to get people involved and part of the thing. I've had people tell me, say, oh, by the way, check out over here and stuff. That's totally flawed. We've been working on it for 3 months and it still hasn't been fixed. It's like they help you with the situation. They help give you the findings because you're there to help them. And they realize that you're there to help them, not just show them that the baby's ugly. I have nothing against babies, by the way. I think babies are beautiful and cute too. So 3, short-term satisfaction often leads to long-term headaches. So, what were the odds that I got rehired for that gig? Anybody? Yeah, 0. That would be it. It's 0. Big A, because it's like, I wouldn't have hired me back. It's like, all the findings. We got domain admin. We were able to create domain admin accounts. We rooted the whole freaking environment. But screw us, we were jerks. It's like you can find other people that can do that. You're not a special snowflake in the special snowflake blizzard people. It's like there are plenty of other red team companies out there that are less jerky than me. It's like, so that's where they went with, and that was totally okay. It's like, well, no, it wasn't. I was upset, because I was like, I wanted to beat them up some more, but I've learned. That was a mistake that I've learned from. So the next one is, this was the weirdest thing because I never realized that I was doing it wrong until I had an epiphany. Literally, because I knew I was being a jerk with the password thing, because that was just jerky, okay? That was not cool, okay? I knew that I was being an idiot and stuff, the way I handled all this stuff. I knew in some part of me that the Barney Fife method probably wasn't the best way to go. This one, it just popped at me. It's like, oh my gosh, I've been totally screwing this up. And so when I started doing red team, it's like, I have very low self-esteem. It's like, I have a very bad inferiority complex. Seriously. It's like, I am amazed that anything goes right in anything that I do day to day and stuff. So when I started doing these gigs, I had to prove myself. It wasn't just trying to break in and make it. It was me showing them that I succeeded. Saying, look, I am good. I did destroy you. Yay! It's like, and it wasn't trying to be bad. It was just because that's what I thought they wanted me to do. They needed me in there to show them how bad they were. They needed me in there to show them where the vulnerabilities were. I had to be that person that was good enough to destroy them. Or I wasn't doing good and they wasted their money and then I was a very bad investment for them and I failed them. And then I realized on this one engagement that I was failing them all along because I was so concerned about winning that I wasn't giving them the proper outcome. I was doing this one gig and I'm in this secured area and there's a locked door on one side and a locked door on the other. And there's a little entranceway and stuff, and then it branches out. So I'm waiting for someone to come through that main door. And I've got like my foot halfway, it's like, this is called the half step. You do the half step, so when the person does walk through the door, you're already walking in a natural gait. Because subconsciously, a human can detect when you're starting off cold versus when you're already in mid-step. So I waited like that for quite a bit. It takes practice, okay? It's like I don't do yoga or anything, but I do this. And it's like, so I do that, and I started walking out, and so it looked like I was walking out of that one door, and then the lady goes in, she goes to the other door, which worked out well for me because it would have been awkward. It's like she walks out goes into the other door, cards the badge. She sees my badge, okay? I have a visitor's badge on, though, which says, Gregory Evans, Oopsie Inc. and stuff, it was a great badge. In my face, and I literally, on the picture that I took, was like going, but she saw the badge, and I walked in behind her. I then turned left, she turned right. I went in and I got one guy to come in because the Wi-Fi posture of the network, because TCP/IP packets were resetting with IPv6 and USB controls and stuff, so I needed to plug in a device. It worked. I got in, and then I did 2 other machines, and then I go out in the hallway, and I see her down the hallway talking to someone. And I can read by body gesture and stuff, she's really upset. She realizes she screwed up. I've got the door going out right there. What happens if I walk out that door? No, I won. I won. Because I've got 3 machines. I technically won already anyway. But if I can walk out that door, I walked out scot-free, I'm good, they're compromised, I showed them, I'm good, I beat you, pay me. Right? That's how that worked. But then, it was like a bullet, the epiphany hit me was like, wait. What happens if I let her catch me? She knows she did something wrong. What if I give her the win? What if I go and give them something to actually look up to, not just all the things that they did wrong, but give them something that they actually can say, this is what you need to do. Instead of getting a memo 3 months later saying, this bad event occurred and this is what our new policies are, they get one right then and there. They get a teachable moment right there. So I didn't walk out. I walked straight, right past them, smiling. Hey, what's going on? It's like, and I walked into another office, and I plugged in another device, and I compromised another machine. And then like less than 2 minutes later, this huge, scary dude who was like ex-Air Force or something, who was going to break me in half, comes in, what are you doing? And I'm like, I gotta get out of jail. I don't care. I'm going to call this number. And I'm like, okay, yay. It's like, this was a bad idea. But it turned out to be a good idea. Because that gave them a teachable moment. Every engagement I do now, I spend 2 days being the worst possible thing that I can for that company. I destroy them as much as I possibly can. That 3rd day, I spend getting caught. That 3rd day, I spend making them have a win. I've had to really work at getting a win. I was behind a bank branch in Lebanon, and I'm sitting in the chair, spinning around, and finally I'm bored because no one's catching me. And I tap the shoulder of the teller going, what's the user ID and password for this machine? There's a server doing bank business right there. And he tells me the user ID and password. It was the name of the server, so it was like, that worked out well. I log into it. I gracefully shut it down in the middle of the day while it's doing its banking stuff. I unplug this desktop server, and I start carrying it out with me. Okay? And I'm thinking, they might be able to be onto me now, right? And the guy comes up to me, and he stops me, and he says, excuse me, what are you doing? And instantly in my head, I had to shut down the 4 or 5 different responses that I knew would have worked, and he would have let me go out, okay? It's like, as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, you got me. Oh, you're good. You're good. I don't know how you caught me on this. I'm a bad guy. I was doing this bad thing, and you're good. What's your name? We're going to write you down. That's the way to go. You gave me the user ID and password to log in, but that's okay. You were smart. You were just trying to see what I was going to do with it. It's like, that's awesome. It's like very good security awareness and stuff. You caught me. It's like, there's no way I was going to steal this from you. It's like, good going. It's like, and I gave them the win. Because that gives them something to live up to. It's like, so giving your target a win doesn't diminish your attack. It doesn't make you bad if they actually get to succeed and they detect, or they come up and they say, oh, we saw you doing an Nmap scan, intrusive. It's like, how did y'all figure that out? It's like IDSs don't pick that up anymore, right? It's like, so it's like if they see those, it's like it's okay to give them those things. Servers don't respond to an attack with resentment. People do. I mean, I don't know. I've seen some really mean blue screens of death and stuff, that I think were pretty petty. But it's like, normally servers don't react that way, right? They don't have those emotions. It's like people do. It's like they get pissed off. They don't actually learn from the mistake. They learn from the good example that you set for them. And when you look at the blue team as a teammate and not an adversary, you both win. It's like when you start realizing that your actual job is to make their guy's life better and help them out with their role, their day-to-day job after you leave, then you see the blue team in a whole different light. It's like we start out in college and stuff, you do that whole red team, blue team, CDCs, whatever it is, the capture the flag, where it's totally adversarial and it's all like, oh, I'm going to go after the blue team, oh, I'm going after the red team. And then you live on with that. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be during there because, it's fun and it's like everybody loves, the little fisticuffs, but that's fine. But in the real world, you're supposed to be working together. The red team doesn't exist except to help the blue team. And the blue team is there to keep the red team out so they can learn from that to make themselves better defending when they do get in. That's how that works. The next one is the community fail. It's like, I'm going to take a little Pepsi break here. Am I doing good on time? Because I have no clue how long this is going to last. Okay. I'm talking really fast and I'm blowing through it, so it's all good. So this one, I used this picture because in the show, he was supposed to be the good guy. Everybody saw him one way, but he really wasn't that way, right? He was, the scary dude. I started, and one of the things I also had to know, I knew if I was doing a talk on failure, and I was involving community fails and stuff, and I didn't mention my book, first off, people would definitely make sure they introduced me to that. So my first book, when I first came out, I had finished the fictional section of it. It's like, it was all written, it was all done, sent it to the publishers, and the publisher was like, oh yeah, no, actually I wasn't finished with it. Like, we had 4 chapters done that we sent to them. And the publisher's like, this is great. We're gonna want it and stuff, it's great. It's like, we need it, in the next month or 2. I'm like, what? Because it was a fictional story and a technical story. We're only halfway through the fictional story. And they wanted to, so I needed to get someone that could do the technical side better than me, because once again, I suck at anything technical. That's the way I feel. So I wanted someone better able to do that. So I was introduced to a guy, and I'm not going to mention his name, and I don't like hearing his name. So it's like, but I was introduced to a guy, and he was like, oh, I'm working with the NSA, and it's like, I met him in DC and stuff, and he was introduced from a friend. It's like, I can help you with this. It's like, I've got integrity. I'm a security guy. I can do this, no problem. I've got a whole team of people that can help me. His whole team turned out to be Wikipedia, okay, which was not a fun experience once you get the review and stuff, and you're noticed to that fact. He plagiarized literally stuff that was actually from Singress. So if he would have just asked Singress directly, it wouldn't have been plagiarism. But he stole it from Wikipedia, so it was plagiarism. I mean, went out of his way to screw everything up. But I trusted him because I didn't have a reason to trust him, but it was like, oh, he's a false security guy. It's like, and that's one of our problems we have. We like to be able to say we don't trust anyone because it worked on the X-Files so well, ask Mulder. It's like, that was awesome. But until we do, because we have our own standards. I mean, I love the fact that people always talk about OPSEC. It's like, oh yeah, I'm very security conscious. And I go into these IRC channels where they're trading Carter information stuff, and they're using their home cable modem. And I'm like, yeah, you changed your user ID. It's like in MIRC. That's difficult. Good for you. It's like, so you see that and you get that trust. So my whole thing is you got to trust but verify. It's like there are going to be times in this community that you're going to be able to like, well, I trusted this person, or I thought this person was good. And that's the way it should be. But we get to the point where it's like we think that everybody's blanketed to like, well, they're like me. And it's like, and they may be like you, but that doesn't mean that they're good. It's like, because there's a lot of jerks in this field, and I know a lot of them, and some people will say that I'm one of them, so, there we go. So you have to understand that. So everyone makes mistakes, but some have no remorse or desire to correct them. It's like, this guy, literally, when I got the call, I mean, I can tell you exactly, I have a list of the worst things that have ever happened to me in my life, okay? Meeting this dude and this book fiasco is actually higher than me getting cancer, okay? And it's just right below my dad's death, okay? That's how bad this situation was. And when I approached him the next morning, because I was dealing with I didn't sleep for over 24 hours when it broke on Friday night, why I was coming home with donuts from Dunkin' Donuts. It took me like several months to get away from Dunkin', to actually eat Dunkin' Donuts again, because the negative association, and I really love Dunkin' Donuts, obviously. But it's like, but it was like, I called him up that morning, and I told him, it's like, what was going on? And his response was, well, we need to get our story straight. That is not what you want to hear from someone when you're facing this kind of situation. So I realized then that I was screwed. It's like, but it's already over, because I didn't verify with him. I never checked to see where his work was coming from. I never went, and people say, well, wasn't that the publisher's job? No, that should have been my job as well. I just took everything that he did as word, as gospel, that he had this whole team, that he was able to do all this, because I just wanted to believe that's what was going to happen. And that's how I failed for it. It's like, I had another guy, when you help someone who takes advantage of you, that's on them, not you. And then I felt guilty about it. That I was stupid, that I let everybody down. But that's not really on me. I had another friend in the community who said that they needed some money really bad. It's like they had some issues that came up, and they were like on their house, and I was like, and I wired them more than they actually needed. I was like, here you go. And then I find out like 2 or 3 months later that they'd sent the guy didn't even change the format. He cut and pasted the email he sent to me and sent it to like 4 or 5 of my friends. It's like, but he changed different numbers and stuff based on how much he thought the other people had. So it's like, so I wasn't as successful as some of my other friends because they got asked for more money. It's like, so I sort of got pissed off about that. It's like, I'm doing pretty good. It's like, and then he sent me another email. It's like a couple months later, and I was like, no, I'm not helping you. It's like, I don't feel bad about helping you at first. I still, to this day, don't feel bad about giving him that money. He may have been taking advantage of me. That's fine. But I was helping someone. And that's where I came from. So I'm not ashamed of that. It's like, I totally believe that that's what he was using it for, and that's what he needed it for. So I'm not going to feel guilty about the help that I give other people when they abuse it. It's like, that's not what you should feel bad about. It's like, you should just feel bad that they actually feel that they have to do it that way. It's like, and then you just go on. So the next one, this one's like, I talked about this one a lot, but it's like, it's really spectacularly fail-worthy. So I'll talk about it again. DEF CON 12. DEF CON 12 was my first DEF CON. It's like, if you met me at DEF CON 12, you probably still didn't talk to me for a couple years afterwards. Okay? Because I was an idiot. It's like, I was not, and I'm not talking about, oh, he's saying no, I was an idiot. Okay? It's like, I went to Black Hat all cool and normal and stuff, you know? It's like, I'm going to Black Hat, I wear dragon shirts and stuff like that. But man, it was DEF CON time. I spray painted my hair blue. I wore my nice shiny shirts and stuff, you know? And I decided to go and take pictures with everybody. It's like, oh, FX, let me take a picture with you. It's like H.D. Moore and Spoon M and all those guys were releasing Metasploit that year at DEF CON. I met them at the after party OSBD where they were celebrating. Did I talk to them about Metasploit? Did I learn what Metasploit was? No, but I got a really cool selfie with them. I totally destroyed relationships before they even started because I was that guy. Never be that guy. That guy is never fun to be, okay? It's like, it seemed fun at the time, but I paid for it. It's like, there was people that were there that were like, dude, I am not, I mean, even after I started getting some sanity by DEF CON 14, because let's face it, 13, I was still just as crazy. I don't learn lessons very well. It's like, I was still there. It's like, it wasn't until DEF CON 14 I started realizing, and I had people like Major Malfunction and FX that actually talked to me and started talking to me, and they were like, no, Jayson, this is the way you need it to be. It's like people like Russ, Vertigo and stuff, you know, they were talking to me saying, no, Jay, you need to calm down. You need to calm down now. Okay? And then I started realizing what the community was like. I was so desperate to have a family, to have a community. I didn't know I was being, you know, that uncle and stuff, you know, right out of the gate. Okay? So it's like, so that was the problem. It's like, because we want to be in these environments. We want to be at places where we're together. People understand you here. People got most of the jokes that I said, and I tell really crappy jokes, but we're all geeks, so we pretty much got them, right? So that's the great thing. But is that just what a conference is for? For some people, that's all it is. It's just a place to meet your friends where you all get to go together, you get to have drinks and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's such a wonderful, great time and opportunity to learn. Because my least effective time that I have is this hour that I'm on the stage with you. It's like, because it doesn't do much for me, because I'm just blah, and you're just like, hey, listening. It's like, but I'm not getting anything out of it, and I'm selfish, and I want it all about me, right? It's like, when I leave here, and we start talking in the hallway, we start having conversations, that's what it's for me. That's what it's about. We need to start understanding that you can do all the cosplay you want and look like them. There is nothing more hilariously sad, okay, than being at the Alexis Park at DEF CON 13, okay, and watching people pass out and almost die because they're wearing a leather effing Neo trench coat in Vegas in summer. Skydog knows, he was there, he knows it. It's like this guy is wearing, because it's like the Matrix was like, it was the culling field of hackers and stuff, Alexis Park in Vegas. It's like, because it's in August, which is really a toasty time to be in Vegas, right? And the Alexis Park was not an air-conditioned hotel. All the things and all the waitings were outside in the heat. So we got it easy now, because you can wear all the black shirts and leather jackets and leather outfits you want to inside, the Rio or Bally's or Paris. That stuff didn't work at the Alexis Park. You died. Okay? You just died. Okay? It's like, especially after 20 cases of beer you thought was cool because your friends told you that's all the cool guys were doing. Okay? You just died. There was a lot of ambulance calls. I don't think anybody actually died, but that wasn't from a lack of trying and leather coats. There was a couple of close ones. So that was horrible. But that's what I thought. It's like, that's what I thought the community was at first. Until I started actually taking the time to not just take a picture, but to have a conversation with the people and start connecting. And that's when I got my family. That's when I got my community. That's when people started understanding. So there's nothing wrong with being around others who enjoy what you do. It's like, but one of the things with most cons is learning, so make sure that's part of it. And it's like, but never forget that just like dentists, you're a valuable part of society, and as well known. Because you know why? I'm a rock star, right? I think one of the most condescending, just one of the most idiot, and it's not against anybody, because people mean it as a comment, but they like to call me a rock star. And it's like, and I get put on lists of influential people on the internet, next to fake avatars and cats, and I'm like, yeah, I'm influential. No. There are no rock stars in this industry. We're dentists. What do dentists do? They tell you things that you need to do to stay healthy. To keep your network healthy, these are the things that you need to do. They are the ones that plug up the cavities and stuff, in your teeth, or they plug in the holes in your firewall or the breaches and stuff, on your desktop and make sure that they're secured. They're the ones that have to do that root canal and stuff, that incident response, because you've got a really bad infection that you need to get cleaned out because you let, your CEO open that email from Paraguay. We're dentists. Does everybody know the guy who created Invisalign braces? He's an orthodontist. He's amazing. He's famous. He goes to dentist conferences and he's got books out. People get pictures with them. It's like, can I get a picture with you? Your work on orthodontics is just amazing. It's like, and he signs his books, and he's like, you know what happens when he walks out of that dentist conference? He's a dentist. I care so little about him, I didn't research his name to tell you what it was, because I just don't care. He's a dentist. Just like us. That's what we are. We can have notoriety, but don't ever feel like you've got to be, like you're someone special. I am nobody in this industry. There are people way more talented, and educated and just specific on their field that are doing wonders in it that you don't even know their names. Because they're not just getting up here and peacocking about it. That devalues them when we try to value and put more value on others just because they go in there. It's like, we need to start understanding that. It's like, this is not, I mean, this is cool hacker, group and community, and it's like, we like that underground, we like that, because we didn't come from, I'm sure the first people that were like creating automotives and stuff, they were very thankful, resourceful people. It's like, it's a very safe, this industry was based on chaos. We founded this industry based on it. This was not something that was done by rigor and rules and models. It was like, it's not. We shouldn't try to pretend that it was. But we should also understand that we play a part in a function in society. We're not everything. The CEO doesn't get to we don't go into the boardroom and stuff, go like, hey, this is what you're all doing wrong. It's like, and we need to put in all this expenditure, or you're going to get pwned and stuff. Trust me, I know. This is what I do. Tell me how that works out for you. It's like, well, I mean, you probably do that on your resume, but still, it's like, it's not going to end well. So we have to understand that we are a community and that we are a group of people that are trying to do things that are better. But no one is better than anybody else trying to do it. So let's remember that, and let's take a little check and stuff. When you see people up here or people in there and say, trying to act like they're better than anybody else. We're not. We're all here trying to give information. And every single person in there, in this audience, has something to share, something to educate me on that I don't know about and that I would like to learn from. It's like, that is a repeat of several of my talks, because you know why? It's still effing true. And I'll keep talking about it because it's still going to be effing true 2 years from now, 3 years from now. You have the research. You have the drive and the passion, because you wouldn't be sitting here on a freaking Saturday in a college that won't let you have booze if you weren't serious about what you wanted to do. Okay? So you got that dedication. It's like, do something with it, connect with other people here that are with you that have the same mindset, and change the world that way. And now here's the really cool part I'm going to do is, who wants to volunteer a failure that they did? All right. Oh, you signed up for Norse. Okay, that's... You don't have to be that shameful, okay? It's like, you can start off lower. It's like, you don't have to you raise the bar way too high too quick, dude. That escalated very quickly. It's like, anybody else? Yes.
I was a password cracker in the Air Force, 18-year-old, bad job.
Right.
And I was supposed to rep out a VIP list of all the generals and everyone in the organization, because you don't want to trouble passwords with that.
Right.
I thought that was wrong, so I made a unilateral decision to not do that.
Oh.
A whole bunch of help desk people in trouble, because I sent my list of bad apples to the help desk. They sent the password bad email out
Right.
to every single one of the staff, and they got in trouble for it because I was an ass.
Yeah. And like military, the attribution stops at the last hop they can see. So it was just the help desk people. Yeah. They just got it from the help desk. So, yes.
I had a similar one with you, where I was a young sysadmin, and I was so determined to prove it wasn't the firewall that I missed the fact that it was the firewall.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that sucks.
My NAT policy, and they even pointed to a different IP address that I had set up the NAT policy for, and
Yep.
about 20 minutes into my, can't be the firewall, and I said, oh crap.
It's the firewall. You always gotta hate when it's actually the firewall. It's like, there's Dilbert comics about it being the firewall. It's like, so yeah, you never want it to be the firewall. Yes.
A long time ago, when I ran a web hosting company before I even got into security, I got social engineered into resetting or granting access to a customer's data when it wasn't supposed to. And it had a call with the person who compromised, and he was like drinking. He was so upset, and then I felt really bad. It was the end of the business relationship.
But did you learn?
At that point that I realized that that's when I really propelled me into the security space.
But did you learn from it?
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. Every one of these lessons and stuff, it's like, yeah, it's like you've learned from it. It's like there are plenty of lessons. Everybody's got them. Every person in here has a failure story that they can share. It's like some of them don't want to share it because Lord knows it might end up on YouTube and stuff, and I'm totally okay with that, and I understand how that works. Like the Norse guy. Yeah. It's like, but yeah, it's like we all have them. There's no one that you've met
There's no one whose talk that you've seen or seen at a conference or seen on the big screen or the little screen or no screen who hasn't failed at some point. Don't embrace failure like it's something to be okay with and accept it, but understand it that it's a teachable moment, it's something for you to learn from. And maybe next time, don't be so ready to throw that stone at the person that is failing, okay? Because that's going to be you in a day from now or a week from now. And you don't really want them to already have the stone that you were nice enough to give them. So we need to start doing that. We need to start understanding that in this community. I love it when they think I'm joking about that. That's actually the end of the talk. That's it. It's like, any questions? Okay.